G'day guys, so in this video we're going to make a motorboat, and it's the first motorboat I've ever put on an official server. Here's something people always ask for but I never do. This is what you're going to need to make it. So this boat doesn't fill any specific niche. It's more a general purpose boat, kind of like the expedition boat, which was the first boat I built on a raft. So this is the first boat I built on a motorboat. Fill the boat with fuel and get a pillar out. Grab the rudder and place it front and centre. Now I'm going to lower the foundation one level at a time. That's because we need to preserve one of the levels. So snap a thatch foundation next to that pillar. Demolish the pillar and place another pillar within the foundation. Demolish that foundation and place another foundation next to the pillar. So this is the level that we need to preserve, so I'm going to extend it out the front. So put a thatch ceiling down and snap thatch foundation underneath them. And I'll do it once more just to get it out of the way. Now demolish those two middle foundations. Now to lower this foundation the rest of the way. So pillar in the centre, demolish the foundation, foundation next to it, demolish the pillar, pillar in the centre, demolish the foundation, and foundation next to that. And this is the level that we need, so we use metal. Now place the front 6 foundations down, and I'll extend one row out the front. So thatch ceilings down first, then snap the metal foundations underneath. And now, ever since that silly patch that went through, we have to lower it twice over the rudder. So find the back edge of that middle foundation, place a pillar at the lowest snap point, and place another pillar again in the centre at the lowest snap point. And now place the foundation down. Use your body to obstruct that high snap point, and use the snap point cycling button, which is RB on Xbox, to place it down. Now we need to extend the back 2 rows. So thatch ceilings down, snap your metal foundation underneath, and get rid of the thatch. Okay, so that's the foundation complete. It's a 6x3 foundation, and we've preserved one foundation out the front at that higher level. Put 2 ramps off the back, or you could use one if you're that hard up for parts. Now I'll put the walls on the lower deck. So one at the centre of the back, 2 up the sides, and then I'm going to leave a gap for some side doors, and 2 more walls forward of the gap. And door frames in all the gaps, the back and sides, and 1 front and centre. 1 square to the back. And another square back from that. Now we can add some sloped walls to the front corners. This is the same front end that I used on the carrier boat. It's not the best front end for boat versus boat battles, but it's an efficient and clean way of getting out the front and onto the top of the boat. Now off those slope ceilings, extend the ceiling back 2 times. And now fill with thatch ceilings, 5 in total. They're placed down so the second level will place in cleanly. So 2 sloped walls placed onto the sides of the thatch ceiling. And a slope ceiling on top of that. Now place walls around the edge of the thatch. No need for one in the centre of the back. And now I'm going to fill in the back, so a wall up at back centre and sloped walls down from that. Two sloped ceilings along both sides. And now put the ceiling in. 3 ceilings forward. Okay, so now we don't need this thatch ceiling here anymore, so demolish that. And place a ramp up onto that door frame. You want to avoid ladders in boats because you can't use them when it's moving, so use ramps where you can. So demolish the next thatch ceiling. And now a slope ceiling up from that to extend that ramp. Now you need to place 2 more slope ceilings down, so get a slope ceiling out and look at one of the side walls. Looking at one wall will make it slope towards you, the other wall will slope away from you, and that's what you want. And the same thing on the other side. Okay, so that's the bottom deck all but complete. Now I'm going to make use of that high foundation that we preserved earlier, so extend it once backwards. Now 3 walls up off that thatch foundation. And 2 thatch ceilings back. And now 4 metal ceilings over the top of that top cab. Hang a metal door off the back centre. And hang metal walls off the rest. Make sure you're maintaining that gap down the bottom. Leave the front to last because we can now remove all that thatch. and at least get rid of one of the snap points. So now the sniper tower on top is complete. So I'll just snap in all the doors. And that completes the main hull and the sniper tower. All of the thatch scaffolding can now go. You can do what you want from here on in, but I'll do what I liked. And that is to add a couple of side decks. So extend it 3 squares on each side, centered on that door, just with the thatch ceiling out, then the snapping the foundation underneath. And remove that thatch ceiling. One of the problems when working with metal slope ceilings is you have to duck under them, which has plagued the game ever since release, and they've never fixed it, which is a shame. All the other materials work fine, but it's just them as metal bloody slope ceilings. I'm going to armour up a couple of plants on the sides. So I'll remove those walls rear of the doors. Extend 2 thatch ceilings out. This is where the walls will be built. Now when placing the walls, make sure they're snapped to that thatch ceiling. This makes a little bit extra room inside, which you need to mount the crop plot in. And same on the metal side, make sure it's on the outward foundation. Slap a pillar in the middle of that foundation. And do the same thing on the other side. Place a ladder down on the outside thatch ceiling. This will allow you to correctly align the crop plot, as it's a very tight space and you'll be there forever trying to align it if you don't use that ladder. Get your large crop plot out and climb the ladder up and down until it turns green. So you can see how tight that space is in there, very little room for movement. Now I'll just do exactly the same thing on the other side. And no need for the ladders anymore. Now some hatch frames and trapdoors above that crop plot. You can actually just use ceilings if you seed and fertilise it first, and then just keep fertilising it through the plant on top. But the trapdoors will let us access them crop plots from inside. Again, get rid of all that thatch that we don't need. So this is where we're at. We've got the main hole, the side decks, and the armoured plants on the side. Now before placing the miniguns down, put one railing forward of the armoured plants. This will help align the miniguns in the same positions, as they're expensive and you don't want to place them wrong. To place the left hand side minigun, just stand on top of the hull and look down. And place it as close to you and as far back as possible against that railing. I hate placing these things, as you always get it just slightly wrong and it looks bad. But as far in and as far back as possible, and it should be right. And then you can place the railing around it. Now for the right hand side, first put a couple of thatch ceilings out. This way your minigun will naturally point forward. And place it the same way, as far against the deck as you can, and as far back against the railing. Then those two railings, and you can get rid of that thatch ceilings. Now only one more structural component to add before we start outfitting it. I'm going to add a foundation underneath the boat to add defences to. So one thatch ceiling out from the back, 5 thatch walls down, and then snap a ceiling forward as far down as you can. Snap a pillar into ceiling, another ceiling forward, and snap a metal foundation underneath that ceiling. Now again, all that thatch scaffolding has to go. You can push it forward a bit further if you want it centred, but I'm mainly using it as bleeds defence here. Put a couple catwalks out from the sides. You can't just leave one foundation there, it'll be under that short decomposition timer. It'll only last 12 hours. Now at this point, all that structure list that we had at the start is gone. I didn't include any electronics or furniture or defences on that list except for those 2 plants and the miniguns. But now I'm just going to completely outfit it until I hit this structure limit. So there's an industrial grill. I'll put a chemistry bench in there. And a fabricator. A refining forge, which will also allow us to make more fuel if we need it. A smithy, you always need a smithy. It's the best storage you can put on a boat anyway. Unfortunately you still can't place them against walls, but we do have enough room there to get past. At least not without demolishing the wall first. Push the generator up into that door frame. Place it down and flip it around. That'll bring the outlet further towards the centre of the boat, so we only need one cable. Place an inclined cable down and an outlet on the end. A bunk bed. We're going all out here. You can walk through that, so it doesn't matter where it goes. And that'll do for furniture. Now just to add the defences. I'll place a couple of auto turrets in the front corners. Just let them protrude out the top of the slope ceilings. They'll still track and shoot just fine. But you'll be able to reload them from inside. Now I'll mount 3 more auto turrets up on the roof. You don't want to place anything bigger up on the roof here, as it'll obstruct your vision too much. I'll place a couple on the catwalks down beneath the boat as well. You can use a keypad to reserve those for leads defense if you need to do that. And 2 final auto turrets out the back. Now at this point we've only got a single piece left, so I'd probably use that to put a keypad in, so we can turn them auto turrets down the bottom onto attack all, so we can kill the leads if they start chasing us. Now the last thing to do on a boat is to grow your plants. So to access the crop plot, what you have to do is first open that trapdoor upwards. It can't open downwards like that. Go around the side where it opens upwards, and then you can access the crop plot, the inventory of it anyway. And you can seed and fertilise it. Now you do have to close that hatch frame from the outside. And now those crop plots will catch the rain and start growing. So that's the complete build. And there's a carrier variant on the side here, which substitutes those side decks for a larger pen on the back. And now just to give an example of what happens if you try and build that structure on a wood raft. Excuse the frame rate here. So this boat was built day 1 on this server, so it's surprising it's still here. Although it probably won't be here much longer now that I've said that. But it's just a stone boat on a wood raft, so we had that 88 piece limit. So the whole back end had to be cut off. And even then there was only place for, I think, 3 pieces of furniture, so we had a bed, a smithy and a campfire in there, which has been destroyed at some point. And then I built this boat on the no-tame servers. There's no auto turrets on the no-tame servers, so just plant for the defense. And this is me up in the sniper position. It was a pretty slow day out there on the water. Although we did eventually find some noobs coming up behind us. Well, that poor bugger probably should have known better. Well, we just left some gear in the boat there for them, so when they respawn they have a present there. And here's a bit of defensive action. One of my tribe mates must have noticed in the log that the boat was getting attacked, since the base is quite a long way from where the boat actually was parked. So this is Elite coming in to defend the boat. It's quite impressive that he geared up and got there in time, because it's, as I said, it's not very close. So as you can see, they've killed off all the plants, which is easy to do on the boat. Only the armoured ones are left. They just would have reared their boat into the side and taken the fertiliser out. So you can see the value in armouring up the plants. This idiot decided to jump right in front of them. Anyway, we used that opportunity of having the plants killed off to mount the miniguns. Anyway, that's it, guys. I called it the patrol boat, since it fills a more supporting role, yet is still outfitted to be self-sufficient. Anyway, that's it, guys. I asked in the previous video if you'd wanted a trapping video or a motorboat build. I think the motorboat build had it, so I'll do the trapping video next.